Good morning. Starting our day off in the office here. I wanted to show you, I've got my iPad. I wanted to show you this 360 Rain app. She ran all night just fine. We need to get up to the field and check it out here pretty quick, but we'll show you what I can see. So this is the app. The green line is the path that we are on right now. Let me kind of refresh it here. There we go. It cleans up that line a little bit. So it's on path number 119. We started at 104 yesterday. So it has done everything from 104 up to where it's at now on 119, including these two runs in front of the trees over here. And all seems to be working really, really well. Yeah, so we can see here under our liquid settings, target is at 0.3 of an inch. We got 7.5, 7.6 pounds of pressure. If I pull this down and we hit our steering, we can see our cameras in a second. So there's the front wheel camera showing tracking between the rows. It's good. Here's a camera showing the hose underneath the machine. You can see it's really muddy. That's from the condensation on the hose. Wow, it's really muddy. Okay. But this is the hose tensioner and the hose going up underneath the reel, and then we can see the rear of the machine, the hose laying out down the paths. The corn looks great. So cool. All looks good. We'll go up and check it out here in a little bit. Killed a few weeds this morning with some glyphosate. Picked up Ryland. Let's go see how our rain's doing. Well, everything looks good right here. It's gonna make a big wet spot here, it appears, because that drain, the bottom one there, every time the pump shuts off, it lets the water out of that pipe there. So that's what's dripping. The pipe is very cold water. A lot of condensation on it, which is also dripping off of everything and making it wet here, but everything seems to be good. If we were running off of line power from that pole right there, instead of that generator, you wouldn't hear anything run here. It would be whisper quiet. It's nice. We'll get there. The plan is to get power from that pole. Our power company, however, moves at a snail's pace, and I don't intend to be able to get it this year. There's three-phase power over there across the road, so ideally they'll run a couple more wires over here and give us three-phase line power right into our panel, and that will that would be awesome. I just don't know if they will even give it to us, or if they'll charge us $50,000 to run it across the road. We're gonna tell them, yeah, no, we're not doing that. So the machine is way over there in front of the woods. We'll go check that out in a little bit, but right here is our riser and everything. Our posts are good and concreted in. The top of those posts might be sharp there, bud. Don't put your hands there. There you go, especially on the other one. We've got our chains, yeah, hooked up to those posts. They are concreted in and solid now. We're running 120 pounds of pressure here at the riser. So I have a digital pressure gauge that hooks into the base station, so I can check it from this app here, but I apparently bought the wrong type of pressure sensor. I didn't realize there was two different types, so we'll get the right one coming and change that out here when we get it, and hopefully be able to monitor that a little bit easier. But for now, we've got plenty of pressure. We're gonna walk our way out there. There's the hose coming from the riser by the truck there. Makes our turn. Yeah, we knocked over a little corn in this turn, but it's much less of a center path than what we had with our hard hose Traveler 2 years ago up here, because we had to mow out at least a 15-foot wide path, and we were knocking more corn down driving, and so this is much less than that, and it will be fine. But you can see here where we've got a little bit more knocked down, but there's a track. You can see it has made the turn and gone that way. It had made the turn and gone that way. We'll walk down here in a couple of them, and then we should be able to walk down the rows and see the water that it has done. But Ryland's walking right on the hose there. This is a tire track. Okay, I'm gonna walk down a path here a little bit, and we should be able to see where it was watered once we get away from the backbone in the center there. Yep. So the ground's nice and wet there, soaking in. This was probably done, I don't know, midnight last night, 11 o'clock, somewhere in there. So it's been 10 hours or so since it got watered, and soaking it up. It's a good deal. All right, so now this is the end of the backbone that's been created so far. And you can see we've got a nice gentle arc on the hose. It's really muddy, all the condensation on the hose because of the cold water from the well. It's making it wet, and then it's laying in the dirt and getting muddy. And then it turns, and now we're down this path here. Now the center of this path is still really dry. It's watering it right now as it's picking the hose back up, coming back in. If we walk out here far enough to the wings, the sides, we should see where it watered it on the way out, right there. So there was a drop running right down this row. They didn't put that water on here 15-20 minutes ago.
I didn't quite catch that.
Yeah, yeah. No, you can just be quiet, Siri. I can still see his little head popping up here, but only for a couple more days, I bet. So there's a drop right in front of me that should be getting some water coming out of it right now. Let's see what it looks like. Oh yeah, pouring the water out. Oh, that is awesome. Right on the base of the plant. It's just flowing down on it. That is so good. It's moving pretty quickly. Picking that hose up, so there's a sensor here that's riding on the hose. That senses the angle, mostly for turns and stuff. If it starts getting too sharp of a turn, it'll correct it. Pull the hose in or out and correct it, or it'll throw an error and shut it down, and then I have to do it. And then that whole box there that the hose is going through, that's the traverser that's moving side to side with that hydraulic cylinder in order to keep it wrapped up on the hose reel really nicely. So that's good. There's some rollers and stuff in there that are actually pulling the hose in, pushing it out as it's moving. We've got cameras. There's a camera up there. There's a camera right there. There's one on the other side so that we can see what's going on from the app there. I showed those this morning already. But yeah, this is awesome. It just works. It just goes. I don't have to do anything. So you'll notice how the drops on the boom are towards the, what we're going to call the front of the machine here. I'm not sure which way is front and back, to be honest. And they're watering there. Now the outside 3 on each side watered when it was going the other way, right? Laying the hose out. The inside 1 on each boom is watering right now on its way back in. But the booms in the center, or the nozzles in the center, are in the back here. And that is so that the tires are never running in wet ground. So by the time this comes back to make its next pass, and we're really washing that row out, this ground will be dried up, the wheels will be running in dry dirt again. That is so freaking cool. Oh, go change! Go change your shirt. That's what I'm wearing today. If you guys would like to match Brock and I, go to Farm Focus and grab yourself a Best RX shirt. Brock's is the one you'll actually get. Mine's a little different. So this machine here is powered by a little 24 horsepower Isuzu diesel engine. I think it's an Isuzu. We have 250 gallons of onboard fuel storage. This should run a month. This should run a month without needing fuel. The motor, or the engine, is just running a hydraulic pump and a generator, 56 volt generator. They are electric motors on the drive wheels, all 3 wheels, and on the reel, and on the hose positioner. all have electric drive motors on them. It is hydraulics for steering, drum brake. The traverser side to side has a hydraulic motor or a cylinder on it, and there's something else that uses hydraulics. Oh, the cylinder to switch flow between the outside drops and the inside drops is hydraulic. So that's how this works. Rylan is just playing in the mud here. He's trying to clean his shoes off, but every time he puts his foot down, it gets dirty again. So you know how that goes. One thing we might try and do is to twist our drops a little bit. So instead of at a 90-degree angle to the rows, they're kind of like a 30-degree or 45, and then it won't shoot past the row quite as bad. That's an adjustment that we can make, but the higher we turn up our pump, the more pressure it runs, more water is going to come, the farther it's going to shoot. But most of it is staying right on that row. I mean, look at that. That is so awesome to see. I love it. Love it, love it. This machine is as cutting edge technology as it gets right now. This is fully autonomous. This is full autonomy in the ag world. Like, we're there, right? I know there are some other companies doing stuff. I know John Deere's got autonomous tractors and stuff, but this is commercial scale launch. Like, you can go buy one of these and it will run autonomously. And that is the advantage to this. Hey, stay back, bud. It is, but just be careful. But that is the advantage to this, is that it just does it. I don't have to do anything. It ran all night, watered probably 20 acres, 15 acres overnight, and I didn't have to do anything. It's not like the hard hose irrigation where I had to come and move it every single time that it finished a run. We're gonna watch it here. We're almost back to the backbone, the main line, and we're gonna watch it make its turn. I have to look at the app, but it's either gonna turn and go farther to the north to the next run, or it's gonna turn and go back to the west on the other side of the backbone here. All right, so we are making our turn. You can see it picking that hose up, pulling it in there. Rylan, get back, dude. So it's gonna keep going, yep, all the way back to where Brock's at. And then it is gonna turn and go this other way. We're starting on path 121. We started at 104 last night, so that's kind of where we're at. Now it should start sucking in a little hose a little faster to not push it out so much. You can see those drops are on flexible hose so that they kind of bend up out of the way as we're going across the rows here a little bit more. What's wrong? It did shut the water off. It does not water when it's making its turns in the backbone here because we don't want it to get wet. All right, so now it's turning its wheel the other way, getting ready to turn and go forward. Again, this is fully autonomous. I'm not controlling it. I'm not telling it what to do. It's just doing it. And that's the advantage here. Now we're gonna push the hose out the other way. We're gonna knock over a little more corn. It's okay. This is not the end of the world. We don't have, like I said, we don't have a center lane mowed out like we have in the past, and we don't have to leave lanes. That was the other big thing, is with the hard hose Traveler, I left a 10-foot wide lane every 360 feet. And we don't have to do any of that. This is just gonna go right over the top of the corn. No matter how tall the corn gets, it's gonna do it. So we'll finish making our turn here, and then it should be switching to the outside drops instead of the insides that we were just watering. And eventually it'll turn the pump back on. It's not right now, you're right. It's still making its turn. We'll just kind of stay out here and watch. It doesn't go 20 miles per hour.
It's 360 horsepower?
No. Okay, so that drop's going to be in this row, and we should start building pressure pretty quickly.
Because if you have a tractor right in front
Still
of
says running.
it's gonna break the tractor.
See how long it takes to turn the pump back on. There, it stopped. Okay, building pressure, so now it's waiting for water. It's gonna start watering there, bud. You can see our pressure there. It has a minute and a half or 2 minutes to build pressure above 2. There it is. Here comes the water right there, and then it takes off, going the other way. And you can see here we've already watered these 2 rows on the last pass, so it's right on the next one. Man, this thing is awesome. That is so incredibly cool. Now this one here is a long path, so it's going to go down to the end of the field, which isn't that far away. Let me see if I can show you this without getting everything all dirty and wet. So right here's where we're at. We just did this path, made this turn. Now we're going this way, but if you look, we've got a little backbone down here. So it's on path 121. Well, 121 ends up here, so it's going to go down, turn, and take the inside pass of my end rows, and then it's going to come back to this point here. And then 122 is actually going to come down. It's going to wrap all the way around back to basically where the pump is, and then come back to here, and then do 123 and back. Whoop. And then 124, and it's going to go out to the road. If you guys will remember, when we were planting, we had some issues with some connectivity of the app, and the planter and stuff. We lost the data on that first pass along the road right there where that 124 is, so it's not going to water the first pass because we don't have planter data from it. So that's a little bit of a bummer, because I'm like, well, the outside rows are the most important ones, aren't they? But whatever, it's fine. But it's going to do all those end rows, and then it will come back here to this center point and keep working its way to the north. All right, we're going to let this thing work. We've got a few other things to take care of here this morning. I got to get Brock down to Berkey to work on the bean head cutter bar so we can combine wheat next week. And then this afternoon, my plan is to come up here and keep working on our electrical stuff, get our other panel mounted. Hopefully we'll get that today. We might pour some more concrete and some posts to get that kind of stuff done. You know, buttoning up the things that need to be finished up here. But it's running, and that's what we want. This thing is so awesome. Brock and I walked back down the backbone and then followed the hose. Rylan decided he was going to cut across the rows from way over there by the machine. So he's out there somewhere coming this way, but I don't see him at the moment. Corn's getting tall. Oh, there he is. You made it. Well, that thing moves pretty quick. I mean, it doesn't, but it's almost down to these end rows here already. Make its turn and go out towards the road. All right, we are back here at the farm, and we've got a John Deere tech here looking at some of our equipment, because we have several things that needed some attention. There's a sensor on the 9R that he's working on now. We're going to try and replace a wire harness, because we've already replaced the sensor a couple of times, so it's not that. He fixed an electrical issue we were having on the 8R already, and we're trying to figure out what's going on with the coolant on the 8430. But that one, he put his tester on, and it's holding pressure. It doesn't seem to be an issue. I don't know. But our radiator is pretty plugged up, so we're going to try and clean that out, wash it really good. I don't know. We are going to get the combine started. Rylan's got all his tractors in here. 90% chance this is dead and doesn't start. Ooh, that's a good sign. Ah, she was close.
Try again.
Try again, it won't matter, but we'll try again. Not quite. Not dead, but not quite. We gotta get her jump pack. Never fails to amaze me what this little jump pack does. She started it. Welcome to the light of day, combine. It's been a while. I don't think we've moved it since the end of February, whenever we got the corn planter out. It's been a little while. So we need fuel and DEF, so we're gonna run out the fuel tanks and start fueling that stuff up. And then we got to get some monitors. We got to get our extended monitor put in here, but that's in the tractor down to Berkey already, so we're not gonna be able to do that. But we do need a GPS receiver, iPad mount that I usually put up there. That might be in the 8RX as well. So yeah, we'll get her set up. All right, we are ready to go here. Brock is he's gonna bring my truck with some parts, pieces for the bean head, knives, that kind of stuff, things that we need for that. Rylan and I are taking the combine. Brock should beat us there. He can get the head drug out of the barn and all that good stuff. And we'll see what the wheat looks like down there, but you can see what ours looks like across the road here. It is getting close. Combine is right up there with the 9R as far as least favorite things to drive back and forth here. One, we're really wide. Two, it's relatively slow at 23, 24 miles an hour. And the combine is not as well balanced as the tractors, and she's bouncy sometimes. So, but we take the narrow roads, or the back roads, I guess I shouldn't say narrow, because they have wider shoulders and there's much, much less traffic. Made it to our farm down here, and we've got the head out and moved it to where we can get to it a little better. We're gonna hook it up, pick it off of there so that we can change the knives on the cutter bar, change the any guards that need changed, whatever. It's easier to work on concrete with all them little bolts and stuff than it is in the grass, so we put it back here because we got a big concrete pad to work off of. It's been a while since I've done this. I'm gonna have to put you guys down. There. That would be a decent height to work on it. Do what we need to do. Let's go check it out. All right, well, looking at stuff, we're gonna put all new knives on. That's a given. But a bunch of these guards are rounded off here. Like this one's kind of pretty bad, but this one is not. Like that one's very new. So we're gonna have to pull the cutter bars out and then go through and see what how many of them are bad and change them. We brought a box of a bunch down here, so we've got some. We got to fold that pan up underneath there, tension the draper belts, and then we'll see where we're at. So came over to the wheat field here. This should be our first wheat to run. Just wanted to see how close is it, and the answer is it's close. Oh boy. I think we've got till Monday, but not by a lot. So when the wheat is ready, you'll notice the heads will start to kink over, we call it, or they just kind of bend in half and point down a little bit, sort of like these ones are doing. It's just starting to do that. Most of them are still pointed fairly upright, but yeah, we're days away here, not a week, days. I'm hoping we've got until Monday. Otherwise, maybe Saturday or Sunday, we will be out here trying to combine some wheat. They're a little plump yet. They got a little drying to do. It's close. Came back over to the farm here and it's raining. That's a good thing. I don't think it's going to be much, but it is raining pretty hard. All right, Rylan and I made it back from Berkey there. And we are back up at our irrigation field here. Dad got our box. Here, let me show you. So I told you we were getting an actual breaker panel. Here it is. 3-phase, 200 amp breaker panel. And we've got a 100 amp breaker for the well pump there and whatever. It'll just clean up the stuff a little bit. So we're working on where we're gonna mount it, laying stuff out, getting everything ready to go there. The idea is to put it exactly opposite of this box, and then we can drill through somewhere down here, come out the back of that box, put an elbow and go up into here where our VFD is, because these wires will go directly into the breaker panel instead of into the VFD. So also did a little painting on our homemade electrical box. My one can of paint ran out, so that's where we stopped. We'll get there. Yeah, this corn needs some water. She's curling right up in the heat. This is a sand ridge, so is what it is, but water's coming right now. One of the variables that we don't have a real good reading on or measurement for is gallons per minute out of our pump based on where we've got it set. And there's no flow meter in the system. We could have put one in by the well if we really wanted to, but once we get it set, we're never gonna really change it. So we're gonna attempt to do a bucket test. We got a couple of buckets. We're gonna catch the water coming out of one of the drops and time how long it takes to get 2 buckets full, or 10 gallons. And then we can extrapolate and do some math from there. 15.5 seconds to get 10 gallons out of one drop, or 15.4 is what it was. That's pretty fast. So we multiply that by 6 because we have 6 drops, and then we can come up with a gallons per minute through the machine. Let's do some math. So if we were getting say 15 seconds times 10 gallons times 6 drops, that's 60 drops, or 60 gallons every 15 seconds times 4 is 240 gallons a minute. So we're a little over our 200. So we're putting on more than 3/10 an acre right now. More than 3/10. Almost. This corn's not looking real great. It needs some water. I can see where it's better in the other stuff, especially in the lower ground where it's soaking the water up. But it's putting it where we want it. It's doing what we need. It's coming for you, Brayson.
So actually it should be double that per acre.
If you factor in the concentration, it's double that, yes. So there you can see the water. I mean, this one's coming past a little bit, but we got a lot running right down the row. Obviously it's downhill that way a little bit, but that water is soaking right in. It is running some, but it's gonna soak in just as much as it's running. And getting right in the root zone. That is excellent. And you can see we got a dry center over there. It's kind of every other row a little bit because of where the way those drops work. So this row's got some, the row next to it's got some, but the one in the middle is dry. And it's got to be making a difference. We really need to get the fertilizer up here. Maybe that's what I'll go work on. I got a couple hours here before we got a t-ball game tonight. So I'm happy with it. It's just hot and we just got to keep it moving. I've decided to go a little bit less water at a time, cover the field a little bit faster, especially initially here, rather than trying to put an inch on at a time, because we'll get just a lot more washing down the rows if we try and do heavy amounts like that. We are to the ends here. There you can see the last pass. It's a lot greener right there, right where Dad's standing. It changes in a hurry. Curious to see how far it goes before it stops and backs up. And whether it totally shuts the flow off or just changes. There it stopped. Pretty close to the end row. And now it should be switching. Yep, it's going back the other way. And now we got water coming out of our inside drops. That is so freaking cool. And we're dropping some back here, but that's okay too. Oh man, that's awesome. So now these outside rows are done being watered. And it goes back, picks the hose back up that it just laid, and water's on the inside. The tires never see mud. Man, that's cool. So I want to get some fertilizer up there and start injecting that in the lines. So we need some fertilizer. I'm going to use our blue nurse tank here to take some up there. What do we got in there? It's got to be water, right? Let's find out. It's algae water, but it's water. Dad uses this sometimes for spotting water for the sprayer when he's spraying some of the fields that are farther away, where he can do it in 2 loads but not 1 load kind of thing. And then if he doesn't use it all, it just kind of sits there and grows algae. Now we have begun a tissue testing regiment whatever. Big words for me. I'm just a lowly farmer. I don't have big words like that. Anyway, we've started taking some tissue tests and got the results back from week 2 here just a few minutes ago. And what our tissue tests, both week 1 and 2, show is that we are low in phosphorus and potassium, which shocks me. But both of those, and zinc. I just so happen to have a fertilizer that has potassium and phosphorus and zinc right there. What's left over of my in-furrow pop-up starter. So we're gonna use that. We're gonna put that on through the irrigation water here and see if we get a response out of it, and next week those numbers look better. I don't know how much is in there, but if I got enough to put 5 gallons the acre on the whole field, that's what we're gonna take up. Man, the humidity is just a killer out here today. Anyway, we've got roughly 750 gallons of that fertilizer. So we needed 850 to put 5 gallons on the whole field, so we're gonna be slightly under that, which is fine. It's still a lot, it should still make a difference. So we're gonna take that up there. I got our injection pump and hoses needed and an extension cord to get to the generator, since I don't have my plug wired up yet. So we should be in good shape from all of that standpoint. We've done a little bit of math, and it was a little bit surprising to me, but I did it twice, and I had Dad double check me, and the math is correct. So we're putting on about 235 gallons per minute. And the Traveler is moving at 6.9 inches per second, the rain, which means that we are covering 2,070 feet per hour. If you take 2,070 and you multiply it by 60 feet wide, that gives you the square footage of like 124,200 maybe square feet per hour. Divide that by 43,560 square feet per acre, means we are covering 2.85 acres per hour, which is more than I would have thought. That's good. If I take 170, we'll say we're going to irrigate 170 of the 174 in the field, because there is a little bit we're not going to get. Part of it that we can't reach, part of it that we just lost that pass with the planter along the road there, so that's going to eliminate a few acres there. Anyway, 170 divided by 2.85 acres per hour means that we're covering this field in just about 60 hours. That's 2.5 days. That's really good. If we can cover the entire field in 2.5 days and just keep cycling that, putting on 3,500s, which concentrated you could figure at 7/10, we win. That is a winning recipe for the summer. Now we got to get caught up here because we're already starting behind. We should have been running a while ago, right, to not get behind. If we could catch a rain, that would help, but that's gonna make a big difference. So we are going to I did some math on the injection pump of how many gallons per hour we need to put on 5 gallons based on our 2.5 acres per hour rate, and that was like 14. So we'll have to dial it back just a little bit. It's 13 gallons per hour, something like that, and we'll get our pump set and running, and we'll use it up on this first pass and see if it makes a difference when we tissue sample again next Monday. Well, there's our injection pump. It's just a little slide pump, and you adjust the length of the stroke to control the gallons per hour. Right now we're set at 10, and I need to move it up to about 12.5 to use the fertilizer up on this field, and the first pass over the field. I unfortunately forgot to bring the right wrench to do so. So we're gonna go get one. We probably should bring fuel up here for the generator too, so we'll go get the boss and bring it up here. But basically we just run an extension cord off of the generator to the cord for this. It runs on 110 volt. That's why I have an outlet right here, is so that when we get to something a little more permanent, we can just plug it in right there, and then yeah, that is coming off of there. We don't really need the pump or anything. It'll just suck it right through there. I got a filter in line. All should be good. So this will work for now. What was I gonna say? Yeah, we're good. We're gonna go get fuel for the generator and a 1/2 inch wrench. I should figure out where the thing is at and write that down and remember so that we know where we need to water back to. So we are just finishing past 132 right now. Sorry, that's shaky, I know. Yeah, it's right there. Almost ready to make its turn back to the backbone and come down to the next one, 133. It should finish overnight here out to the road as far as it's going to go, and then tomorrow we'll send it back working the other side. All right, Brayson here has a t-ball game tonight. Is it your last one? No, not the last one. But we got to go take him to that. So Dad is going to run up there with the fuel trailer, and sorry, you guys are all get all sweaty and nasty in my pocket. Sorry, but he's going to run up there with the fuel trailer and that 1/2-inch wrench to adjust our injection pump. So I also just found out that 1, my math is correct, but 2, I can run that plug that I'm going to put, that outlet by the well there, through one of the relays in the base station, so it will turn the injection pump on and off with the machine. That's awesome, instead of just running all the time. So, did you find your shoes? Come on, find your shoes. We got to go. Thanks for watching today. I'm super excited this thing is running. It's actually better than I thought. We just need a 1/2 inch of rain to get caught up on moisture, so we're not behind. But once we get caught up, this thing's going to run. We're going to cover that field every 3 days. Well, we're going to keep up really well if we can do that. So I'm pretty happy with it. Thanks again for watching, everybody. Have a great rest of your night. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button for me. Stick around. We're going to have lots of these 360 rain videos over the course of the summer. We're going to have a lot of wheat harvest videos next week. Things are going to pick back up here real fast. Yeah, this is good. This is really, really good. We've been working towards this for a long time, and I'm super excited for it. So, like the video. If you would, go over to farmfocus.com, grab yourself a t-shirt, whether it's one of the Best RX shirts or one of the Border View Farm shirts. That's the best way to support the channel, and I appreciate everybody that does that. We will see you guys tomorrow. 93, that's brutal. We are on our way to this t-ball game. I thought of something else before I end this video. I need to give a huge shout out and thank you to, number 1, my dad for helping me get that 360 rain running yesterday, and for all the support in this project that he has offered. Let's be honest, we would not have one of these if it wasn't for me really, really pushing for it. But him and my Uncle Phil both were on board. And there was a point last fall when we kind of thought, no, we're not going to do this, and it did not sit well with me. Like, I just agonized over it a couple of nights. Like, I don't want to run the Traveler again. Like, I will give up buying a sprayer to buy this thing. And they both kind of said, okay, well, then we'll do it. And so I appreciate that. And also wanted to give a huge shout out to Taylor at Rooted Ag. Taylor is the dealer for 360, who we bought the rain from, and they're based out of just south of Fort Wayne, Indiana there. So if you guys are interested in one of these systems or anything from 360, look him up, Rooted Ag. I'm sure you can Google it and find it, social medias and whatnot. But Taylor's been a huge help in getting everything up and running as well. And then yesterday we had Lauren, who's the rep for 360 Yield Centers, here as well, helping get that thing running. And some of the guys back in their offices that we made some phone calls to, all of them were super, super helpful in getting this thing running, and I very, very much appreciate it. So thank you to those guys.